Welcome back, everyone. As I mentioned in the last episode, I was going to try to get the painting done in this episode if the weather cooperated, and the weather actually did cooperate. It's just there's not enough hours in the day, so I kind of want to recap some of the things I did between this episode and the last episode, and I do have pretty much everything 100% ready to go to throw some paint on this in the morning. So hopefully I'll be able to post that episode either probably Sunday morning, maybe Monday morning. So anyway, I'll swing around here. I've got the fenders are all DA'd. Everything has been degreased, wiped down, ready to go. The fenders are there on the work trailer. They've been scuffed. The ramps and some of the other hardware I just got suspended. And then the trailer itself I've got propped up at an angle so I can get the underside. I'll follow up with some footage here in just a sec of kind of doing that with a little bit of sandblasting and some other stuff. So some of the things I did from the last episode is there's a little bit of structure here. This structure was already here to hold the toolbox, but I did decide to put the battery outside of the toolbox. Hopefully that sun doesn't glare too much. See if I can tip the camera so it doesn't do it. So I went with a smaller battery that fits under here, and it's the style like GM uses with the clamp at the bottom, so instead of having a hold down bracket. So here there's just a ledge that catches the back side of that lip on the battery, and then a hold down, that little wedge, plastic wedge piece. If you happen to have a GM, you know what I'm talking about. Again, it's the chain tie downs, you already saw those. So there really isn't anything else new that you didn't already know about. That just gives you an idea of it upside down. Or not upside down, but sitting at a 45. So I'll be able to, with it at an angle like this, I'll be able to get in and get to some of the spots that would be almost impossible short of trying to lay on my back and get under there with a spray gun, which doesn't work. So anyway, I've got a little bit of video for you of a little bit of sandblasting and some other stuff, and keep an eye out Sunday or Monday for the episode of shooting the paint. Oh, I did get the wheels done. I did those in a satin black. I think they look really nice instead of being a gloss. Kind of have that, and they're not flat, they're satin, so you get a little bit of shine to them, but not too much. So I think those will go contrast well with the color that I'm going to use. So nooks and crannies. So I've decided I'm going to stand it up on edge, lean it up maybe about a 50-degree angle. So I'll show you kind of my setup here, and then we'll do the lift and we'll see what happens. So I just built a bar that bolts to the both axles there. I used a round pipe, that way it can basically roll I've got it on sitting on 2 heavy-duty steel sawhorses, and then right here I've got a stop. So there's no way, because it'll be being picked at an angle, it'll have a tendency to want to slide off those sawhorses. So that will block that from happening. I'm going to use the tractor to pick it up, and I guess it's another good plug for build it or buy it. I don't even know you could buy something like this. When I was building my shop, the wood walls sit on a 3-foot insulated concrete form stem wall. So it's one thing to have a wall and just tip it up, but it's a completely different thing to tip it up and then pick it up 3 feet. And since I was by it myself, I built this jib attachment for that goes on the quick detach on the tractor. It's a triangulated affair, and then it's got a small, I think it's a 2,000-pound winch at the top. It wouldn't lift that much. I wouldn't try to lift that much, but it worked really handy for stuff like that where I need to lift a little bit higher than what the tractor will lift. So let's see what happens here, and hopefully this goes off smooth. Well, that went pretty smooth. Looks a little precarious, but it can't go anywhere on the sawhorses. Instead of anchoring it to those trees, so I think what I'm going to do is I think I've got some scrap pipe around here. I'm just going to make some kicker legs that would come up in this, come up in this corner and then come down to the ground and go into a spot where they can't slip out of there. Because I can, after lowered that down, I can always, I'll undercoat, I'll prime everything probably on the underside, do the top side, and then I can always touch those up later on, or let the primer dry and then scoot them over to a different spot. So anyway, I'll pause you and get up the final setup done and then bring you back. Okay, so here we are. We've got it set up at about the angle I want. I've got a couple of those are steel tubes wedged in there. I sunk them down in the dirt a little bit so there's no way the bottom can kick out. It's surprisingly stable. I'm not going to be crawling around on it, but that'll certainly let me get much better angle when it comes to painting it. So anyway, it's getting a little late in the evening, so we wanted to try to get it set up tonight so I could get going first thing on washing it down in the morning and getting the painting going. So